this computer. All right, so today is April the 3rd, 2025. Let me just make sure. Okay. All right, guys. I want to talk about a couple of things today. I'm just gonna pick these things at random. There was one of them I wanted you guys to see. Um, on the grand scheme of construction management. I Let me just show you guys some. I actually finished that one house today. I got my final inspection. I actually passed it. Let me see. This is a new house that we're going to be doing, but um, let me see. Yeah, let me open up one of these right here. Web browser. Well, just need to go right here and grab this. What's my web browser at? There it is. Okay. So, it's told me there's a new Chrome available. Let's relaunch it. Get the new one. All right, so let's go to company cam. So this is what I had going on today. And I didn't have a picture of it. I don't think I took a picture of it beforehand. So this is what I had to end up doing, guys. And this was actually a code item right here. Um, so we built the steps first. Let me see if I can show it to you. So the steps were built first. And the guys, they did the steps based on stepping up from the ground. Well, when we did the concrete, it raises the steps up a little bit so that when it hit there's a concrete pad up under here. There's a concrete pad up under here. So what that would have done is when you walking up these steps, it will make this step right here too short and the rest of them long. And let's just, for the sake of it, man, let's go look at this thing. I want to see this right here. IRC. Let's just say they're on the 2021 code. They may be on 2021 code. And so, accept this right here. I would think it would be under the building and planning, maybe under maybe on the stairways. Let me just do this right here, make it easier. So go to index. Let's go to stairs. Looking up this code here, guys. I want to see if this guy was right on it. ST, stairways, handrail, headroom, landing, nosing, treads and risers. That's going to be R11.75. So let's go to R. Sorry, that's R311.7.5. Let's go to R311.7.5. And let's just say risers. There we go. All right, so it says, see what's he right here. Right here, guys, it says the riser height shall be not less than 7 3/4 of inches. The riser shall be measured vertical between leading edges of the adjacent treads. The greatest riser height within any flight of stairs shall not exceed the smallest by more than 3/8. I'm gonna meet you. More than 3/8 of an inch. Um, so he was right. Risers should be vertical or slope from the underside of nosing of the tread above the angle. So yeah, that's right. let's look at this right here. Let's say landing. Yeah, he was right, man. That can't get away. Can't get around that right there. That's that. So I had to do that. Oh, I could tear the whole stairs out and start over again. So that actually worked, man. I mean, I can't. I missed that, guys. So you see what I had to end up. Let me go back here. We're gonna get back on this right here. So you see what I had to end up doing? Because if you see the concrete right here, the concrete came up too high. This was the original riser height right here. But when we built the concrete up, it took away this right here and made this shorter than this right here, than the next step. So what I had to do is I had to come in and build this little pad at the bottom and make it out of a landing. Does that make sense, guys? So I had to make that thing out of a landing. Let me just see what else I got. That's what I had to do. I know that's ugly, guys, but I had to make this whole thing where you come here, turn landing. Now you can change directions. That worked. That was a way of. I mean, the building, the code guy helped me with that one. He helped me figure that one out. Okay. So that was the only thing. And I did that. It might have took me maybe 20 minutes to do it. I had to throw it together right quick in a hurry. This is the, let me see, make sure I got everything. All right. So I sent it to him and he was able to use it. This was another thing, guys. So, guys, when you have a deck, they make these straps right here. And this is actually in the code, guys. They make these straps right here. This strap right here is supposed to grab the flooring joist from the deck. Then it grabs it. If you can look at it like this right here. So it's bolted in. This right here, screw goes all the way through the house. And then it goes to the other side on the inside of the house. Right here is the inside of the house. And it anchors again to the joist on the inside of the house. Like that. And you got to have them every so many feet. I had to have 3 of them on mine. But that's what I had to send to him to get that stuff done. So I should get my CO tomorrow. That'll work out. All right. Any questions on this right here, man? Any questions on this code stuff? All right. All right. So let's jump into a couple of things, man. Let me see. I had put a couple of presentations. Manager, we're gonna talk about diversity last. Let's talk about this right here, guys. Managing time, man. Let's kind of talk about time a little bit because this is the one thing that you can't get back, guys. So you got to utilize it well. Um, if you guys in the process of trying to start a company and stuff like that, time is so valuable. In some cases, you got to figure out a way to, well, you can focus on something else and maybe have somebody else doing what you have taught them to do so that you can get some of your time back. Or, you know, like say for instance, I order those little meals up there, those little meals, food prep meals, and I do that so I can get my time back. You know, I don't want to spend my time in the grocery store shopping and coming home and cooking. Then you have to put it up and save it in containers, and then well, I can get my time back if I just order from those guys and pay them. There's a saying, man. What they say? They said that rich people, well, let me see, broke people spend time to save money. Rich people spend money to save time. And guys, I don't know if you guys, we used to do this when I was a kid. You know, my mom used to spend all this time going through all these coupons. You know, she's, cute. I think when I was maybe 13 or something, 13, 14, maybe ninth, 10th grade or something like that. She used to, man, I mean, that's all we used to do. We spent all our time accumulating coupons. And then we would go to the grocery store and now you got to find the exact version, a brand and ounces and everything in order to get that discount. And we spent all that time dealing with that stuff, man, dealing with those coupons, flipping through coupon books and manuals and stuff. And that was just a lot of time. But a lot of people, they'll spend their money to not have to do all that stuff. I'll figure out a way to go make more money, you know. So keep that in keep keep that in mind, guys. Let me just move this up here. Guys, project managers who fail to manage their time effectively are not likely to complete projects on time. Yep. Or within budget or according to specification. So if you fail to manage your time, man, I mean, everything else on that project is just not going to be good. You guys have got to utilize your time. And I'd add one to it, guys. You got to be efficient with your time. Very efficient. Got to get things done. Man, that water's good. All right, guys. So poor time management can cause wasted time, make it get you stressed out, your credibility gets shot, you can miss appointments, you don't follow through on, you don't follow through with people. And that's one thing, guys. I tell you what, man, you gotta follow through with people. People call you, you gotta call them back. You know, sometimes I don't be feeling like it, but I do it, man. I jump at it. Um, Also inattention to detail. Any ineffective execution and poor stewardship. So these are the things that are going to be a result from poor time management. Okay. Um, these are common time management problems to avoid, guys. Taking on too much work, guys. A lot of builders do this right here, man. They'll take jobs, and you know the reason I think a lot of people take a lot of jobs, like one builder, they know they can't do all this stuff, man. They'll take these jobs knowing they can't finish them or get to them, or they don't have enough manpower to supervise these job sites. And they'll take them. And I think that the reason they take them is because they have a scarcity mindset. They're afraid that they just want it all. They want to gobble it all up. And you can't have that mindset, guys. If you can't get to a job, that's just like I was telling my customers. It's like, look, man, I got to hurry up and get this thing done. I got other people waiting on me. I got other jobs. I got jobs starting right after this job. I got to quote this. I got to quote this job and do this, that, and the other. I mean, they're stacked, man. I can't be fumbling around here over at your job because you ordered something from Home Depot and it didn't come on time. So, you know, you don't want to take on too, like I said, you don't want to take on too much, man. So I would, I won't start another job until I get one of these jobs finished. I can probably handle maybe three. With somebody coming in, I could probably handle three to four, maybe four. Just trying to think what I can handle. I may be able to handle two custom jobs and maybe two specs. I could probably do that. But on average, and it just depends on how big those jobs are, 3,000 square foot house. Yeah, I could probably do two and two. But I say a new builder, you just kind of getting started out. I would say, man, just maybe one spec, just getting started out. Taking on too much. Telephone calls can mess you up. Unexpected crisis. Guys, unscheduled visitors, man. You know, if I had an office and somebody came to visit me and they didn't make an appointment, you know, chances are I may see them, but I'm not going to sit down because if you sit down, they feel like they got more time. These people waste your time. I have people calling me. I think it should be illegal that these companies and stuff call to solicit for business and stuff like that. You know, because I be doing stuff, man, and I ain't got time to talk to them. I was I was doing that stuff that you guys just saw me do today to get this inspection off. And these jokers were calling me. And if you're a business owner, you got to pick the phone up because you don't know who it is. So, you know, unexpected visitors, they could just waste time. Guys, if poor delegation, you're not delegating things, you're not giving things to the right people, or are actually just delegating in general. Um, if you're unorganized, man, I tell you what, man, you got to be organized, man. I can't go to my desk at home and have a bunch of junk everywhere, man. I'd lose my mind if I got papers and stuff everywhere. It's hard for me to look at these books on my desk right here in this classroom, guys. You got to be organized. Or unnecessary or inefficient meetings. Don't just meet to meet. I was talking to a friend of mine. He worked at the power company, and he was like, "Man, we meet to meet and talk about meetings. That's inefficient, guys." Any questions on that? Reducing the number of crisis situation, guys. So, in each day, by planning the next day, in each day, by planning the next day, you should have some kind of board. Well, if I got one, let me see if I got one. Um, let's see what I got here. Thought I had a board or something. You can't see it. It's on this side. Every day, guys, I got what I gotta do and what I gotta get done. And what you want to do is when you finish up that day, you write down because it's fresh on your mind. You write down all the tasks that you need to take care of for the next day. And when you look at it that morning, I usually take a picture of it with my phone. Man, I try to get them things done. And it makes me feel good. It gives me a sense of accomplishments when I cross through one of those items that I actually done that day. Um, and you can also schedule loosely. Just don't make everything just solid, ironclad schedules. Just you kind of schedule. Don't make it too solid to where you can't break it. Avoid being an amateur psychologist. Don't be sitting down trying to help people. I know this sounds kind of crazy, man, but I agree with this right here. Your job is not to be a psychiatrist or psychologist to the people that, especially if they work under you or people that work for you. You ain't got time for that, man. You pay them to have their stuff together. You're not there to try to mentor anybody or like I said, be a amateur psychiatrist or psychologist. Remember that most tasks take longer to complete than planned. And I can attest to that. And you guys have done that, man. You guys have, we're just gonna do this little shed. We're gonna build this little shed. It can't be hard. We're gonna build this little shed outside in the backyard. You've been made 20 trips to Home Depot. I just like that little think that door. I think Latoya did a door about a week ago. We're just gonna find out. We'll find that door and let you guys look at it. But I guarantee you that was a task. I guarantee you it wasn't no just let's just take the door off and just paint it. There's probably more to it than that, man. You probably had to sand it, just all kind of stuff. Yeah. So they're not. Yeah. So I told you it wasn't just no even just taking the doggone door off, man. That was probably a challenge itself. Well, how you get these? How you get this off without tearing this right here up or doing this right here? It'll never just be cut and dry. Um, Especially when you're dealing with a house, man. That's why I try not to take on things myself. I just try to hire somebody. The only reason I went out there and did that stuff today is because I need this CO tomorrow. And I didn't want to have to call my guy to come back out there. Making the telephone a more efficient tool. Utilize that telephone, man. If somebody if it's somebody if you got the subcontractors and they did certain job, pick the phone up and call them and tell them to come get it done. If it's not done, you don't jump in and do it for them, especially when you pay them. Hey man, y'all come get this right here done. Y'all come do this right here. I send my guys pictures. I send them pictures of what needs to be done. That way there's no question about it. Um, Use email instead of telephone whenever appropriate, guys. And the reason you want to use those emails is hard. It's easier to number one, the telephone, you don't have a documentation. And then it's easy to track those emails. You can, if you say it, some guys, we live in a very litigious society now. Somebody coming in. And so in most cases, it's better to have those emails on file. That way, if they said something, you can, you know, you guys can you can hold them accountable. And then you want to categorize your calls as important, routine, and unimportant. And on your email now on your emails, you can put those flags on there, to kind of let you know that, hey, I really need to. I use that a lot, guys. I use the flag, let me know. I need to look back at this. I need to print this right here off. Somebody walking in. Um, Use a cellular phone to return calls between meetings and during breaks. Yeah. Block out time on the calendar for returning telephone calls. And there may be just like one particular time during the day, you know. You can, guys that I'm gonna shut everything down at 4 o'clock, and from 4 to 4:30, I'm gonna call everybody back. Hey man. Yeah, I should too. Okay. Yeah. So you wanna let me send this guy this link right quick, like guys. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. Let me let's see. Copy. All right, let's jump back at it. Okay. Yeah, so you want to set aside some time, guys. Set aside a little time to just return all your phone calls that you missed. Limit unrelated dialogue during telephone calls. Somebody called about Valentine's Day or some, and they ain't about business, you might not want to call that person back at that moment. Um, you want to cutting back on non-essential responsibilities. Make a list of all current and pending obligations. Then you want to take stock after work activities. Okay. So you want to focus on the essential things that you need to handle. Limiting unscheduled visitors. Here's the way you want to deal with those guys. Do not allow drop-in visitors, guys, during peak times. Especially if you got an office and people just come in, just want to talk to you. Like I had somebody call me today, and they was like, you know, I'm a real estate agent, and we trying to do some stuff in Pratt City, and through Birmingham, that land bank and all that stuff, and we're really trying to find minority builders. And I just told her, look, man, I'm just not interested in that stuff whatsoever. You know, I know it's probably, um, you know, I know it's probably an admirable thing to have minority builders to come in and try to help out minority places and stuff like that. But I'm just not that builder. And people say, well, man, I get a lot of you, Uncle Tom, and all that kind of stuff. I don't like dealing with municipalities. That's just it. So I just, you know, I just don't even talk to those folks. So if you just drop in or just call me out of random and stuff and say, hey, man, I thought about you, I call you back or something. Train administration support personnel to come to the rescue. And most companies have their guard dogs in there. You can't get to the boss unless you get to that guard dog. And something else you can do, man, when they come, if they do come in your office, you just kind of stay standing. That kind of that kind of gives them the idea that this gonna be brief, man. So because you standing up, so they don't feel comfortable. Okay. Um, Tasks that are not project managers' tasks should be delegated, guys. If you got stuff, man, somebody trying to put their stuff on you, don't let them put their monkey on your back. You guys ought to read that book, The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. Don't let people just, they got problems that they need to solve, and they take their problems and they try to give them to you. Don't take them. That's your that's your job. You need to handle that, man. Nothing wrong with telling them either. Overcoming personal disorganization, guys. Some people are just unorganized. My wife kind of like this, man. I'll be honest with you, man. My wife could actually, like, she never make up the bed. She can get out the bed and leave it just like that. And I think that's just the way some people are just raised when they're young, man. But cover all over the place. You just leave it just like that, and I don't see how they do it, man. You could take a, you can take a bunch of clothes that you just got finished washing and dump them out on the bed in efforts to fold them up. She could crawl up under them clothes and go to sleep. So don't be this guy, man. Don't be unorganized. There's junk everywhere, man. So guys, periodically clean off desk and workstations, man. Keep it clean. Restack your work in priority order. And that's kind of what I do too, guys. And categorize work folders. All right. Let's look at these meetings. How do you make them more efficient, guys? Be aware of the causes of wasted time in the meetings. Talking about stuff that's irrelevant. Determine if regularly scheduled meetings are really necessary. Hold impromptu meetings while standing up. I see them do this a lot in Home Depot and Lowe's when if you catch them early in the morning, they having their department meeting. They just be standing up. They don't be in the back in the break room sitting down. Okay. Complete the necessary preparations before meetings. Begin meetings on time. Stick to the agenda and take minutes. If you got an agenda, it's probably good to have an agenda so you don't get off task. And then you want to follow up meetings promptly. Okay. Let's look at let's look at managing change, guys. Let's talk about managing change, guys. Guys, if you're not willing to change in this game, you're not going to make. I mean, just you know, construction. Construction takes a long time to change. A lot of the people, the mindsets, products, the materials. I think construction have about a 30-year lag time. It takes about 30 years for everybody to make the ultimate change to use similar building products. But if you're not willing to change, you're gonna hurt yourself in this game. You got to be willing to change. Things are changing really quick. Um, Change is a fact of life, guys. Change orders and the need to continually improve both cause change. To deal effectively with change, project managers have to be able to help team members overcome comfort induced inertia. And guys, what you'll find out is that, you know, when you guys get out here in the workforce, it's the older people that, they kind of are victims of habit. They've been doing things a certain way for so long. They don't like to change, man. They like to kind of they're in their comfort zone. Oh man, those are always good. So those are going to be the guys that's going to, in most cases, that are going to they're not going to be willing to change. They don't like to adjust. Okay. And this is not the time to be doing that, man. You got AI, you got the computers, these things are changing. I mean, it's like literally changing monthly, guys. Like the whole dynamics of things are changing monthly. So, you know, keep that in mind. See if somebody mute somebody. Make sure I got here. Y'all mute yourself if you just coming in. I just muted somebody. All right. All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Does somebody have a question? You had a question, Mr. Banks? Oh, okay. All right. Let's look at this right here. An effective change management model. Let's kind of look, let's crack into this right here. Guys, you want to develop a written change picture. That's all we work. Communicate the change picture to all stakeholders. Take responsibility for the change. Enlist influential team members, people who are not afraid. Yeah, bring these people on board. Minimize roadblocks. Develop and change implementation plan. So you got to have a way to implement that change. Then you want to have checkpoints, monitor, and then you want to adjust. Okay. Any questions, guys? You guys got any questions y'all want to ask me? Everybody good? You got to unmute you. Let me see.
Professor, I got one for you.
All right, go ahead.
It's about a change order relating to plumbing.
Okay.
I just left a building today that was in their rough plumbing stage.
Okay.
With the idea that water, additional piping could be added in order to recapture the gray water and focus the water into the commode that can be recycled.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming from an outside source. See, I'm dealing with rainwater harvesting, and you set up a cistern, and this building is right at that point where they just got the rough construction, and they are not operating with this idea of water retention. So I need to introduce this concept to them as an outside, but a community person that's interested or desirous of having a sustainable vision in which rainwater can be captured from the outside and introduced in a gray water capacity. So it's going to require a change conversation and then therefore implementation. So I need to have more like a design on how that can be done to be introduced to these regular plumbers who are not into and how is that done? Because they're not into gray water recycling. They're not into using the gray water to wash the clothes or to flush the commodes.
Gotcha. So you say you're in the rough phases?
Yeah, it's a building right over there, right around the corner from my house, on Goldwire and Center Street. These build up programs. The build up program is located on Goldwire and 6th Avenue. They got a build up program. They have a gymnasiums. Goldwire and 6th Avenue, right down from UAB on 6th Avenue.
Yeah. The only thing, so if you're in a rough phase, you would have to do a change order, but the problem is something like introducing gray water technology into a job site. That should have been thought of well before the rough stage. And it's gonna be like it's not impossible, but it's gonna be like pulling teeth to get these guys to do it. But if these guys had that on the original plan, and you had that innovative thinking before they even did anything, before they start, doing any construction work, then that would have been the ideal situation. So what you're asking these guys to do is you're asking them to stop what they're doing and retro this thing for gray water. Well,
really, but isn't it just introducing into like an intersection or a cutoff valve that will bring in water from the cistern, introducing it to the cold water line that's going to the commode and going to the wash machine?
Well, see, you as a person who's not a plumber, it sounds simple. But all you gotta do is just take this line right here and connect it over here. But to a plumber who understands all the ins and out and the knows and don't and the master's plumber and they got their license and stuff like that, man, that can be a major undertaking. That's just like that's just like for you when you come to me and you say, well, you could, if you're a builder, you could be able to do this, that, and the other. Because all you got to do is this right here. But me as a builder, and I know I have been there. If you ask me to change something like that in midstream, I don't care how smart whatever you're talking about is, or how much sense it may make. I'm not gonna want to do it. I'm not gonna want to.
But
I get it, man. Go ahead.
in the end, it's all about a budget in which you have these change orders to be funded or capitalized, so that if you got which they do have $1 million budget, they're building a building in this commercial building, and within $5,000 change orders is basically what I might be talking about, or $10,000 change order within $1 million project. But that's all they're undertaking. It's not so much that they can't do it; it's just that they haven't envisioned to do it. It's an undertaking.
But you asking these guys to give up their time now. See, and you don't know what those guys had. Okay, let's just take the plumbers for instance. The plumbers probably have somebody, and we just got finished talking about time. Those plumbers could have had another job that they're going to go to right after that job that lines up. So they have scheduled themselves to be able to handle this job because of the original plan said all we're going to do is the plumbing. We want to talk about no gray water. We want to talk about no change order. I'm going to do this job, and when I'm finished, I'm going to go to my next job. But now when you start saying gray water, and we're going to do this, that, and other, that's going to take me another 2 or 3 days because I didn't plan that. So now these guys, now you're trying to keep them there longer, and they're going to miss the appointment for the next job. You just don't know what's going on with these guys, and you can't force how you feel about this and that and the other. You can't force that on people.
Yeah, but not so much force. It's just that can you buy that? Can they?
Well, if you're trying to get these plumbers to see your way and say, well, all you got to do is this, man, and it's really easy. This all you got to do. You are trying to force them to do what you want them to do.
Force them is going to pay them. It's going to pay them.
It's more than just money. Is what I'm trying to get you to see. It's more. These guys have obligated to do another job, and I'm just using this as a. I'm using this as an analogy or just a potential situation. I don't know if this is a situation that the plumbers are doing, but these guys want to get paid. They need to get their money right away, and then they need to get on to the next job. But you finna intervene and interrupt all that for those guys because you got a good idea that we ought to do gray water technology, man. But those guys didn't plan that on the front end. Now, what I'm saying is, if that was part of the original plan, see what you want to do, the way you handle this stuff is you make sure that that's part of your original plan. And then that way there won't be any questions. So when those guys show up on the site, they already know they plan for it.
Okay, now let me add one more question. I'll let you go.
No, you good, man. This actually was part of the lesson that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm taking my homework assignment. That's what I'm saying. This is my homework. And I just met them today, but they got a project that's been functioning for about 10 years, about 3 blocks from where I live.
10 years.
I'm a resident, and that advocates for community development in general, but in Pacific, these people are developing my community, and they always crying about money, they write proposals, and then they've written up a proposal to redo a building that used to be a truck warehouse for 50 years. Now they're trying to put in a whole different concept that speaks to a whole different culture that's going to have art studios, it's going to have a bunch of amenities that can be attractive to other people in the community that's shrinking in population. So what I'm saying is that The buildings, any building that's being done, it should also reflect the status of what we are in the community overall. And that is, we got Trump at the top of the ticket, trying to take every resources, not doing any building, causing the building construction to go even much higher. So you have even fewer houses that are being built overall. And
But you say
because they're playing politics, they playing politics with the infrastructure.
you didn't say Trump, did you?
Huh?
You said Trump.
Not say Trump. Trump is playing politics with the infrastructure and with the economy. Now it's going building is going to go up 50% now almost with these tariffs that he's putting on building supplies. So the buildings that we do need to be more sustainable and more independent. That's what I'm feeling. So when you start dealing with plumbing, you need to also don't just rely on the city water, and then city water has already been more expensive because of the sewer debt that, particularly in Jefferson County, that's going up under with this referendum that they're trying to survive from. I mean, it's a lot of politics around our survival.
Let me say this right here: the Trump administration, from what they're doing, is actually starting to use the resources that we have here. Like with the building supplies are actually stagnant, are going down.
That's right. So there'll be less and less buildings.
Well, for me, lumber prices are going down. So
not in the shelf run, because psychologically,
I'm looking at, hold up, let me see.
But lumber coming from Canada.
Yeah. Well, no, what we're doing is we're starting to utilize the lumber here now because of that. Let's look at this right here, right quick. Like, here we go. There we go, right there. See if I can pull this article up right here. Now you can read it, man. This was just written March, a couple of weeks ago. Lumber prices tumble after Trump delays tariffs. But for how long?
Okay, but now he just what the lumber price now he just implemented the tariffs and the stock market just dropped 1,600 points.
Well, my lumber supplier just sent me their update, and it just nothing's happening right now because what ended up happening was they bought a lot of lumber and they're sitting on the yards for that anticipation.
That's going to be bought up, but now the next piece of lumber that comes in from Canada is going to be twice as high.
Yeah, but what you're going to have to do is you got to adjust. You're not gonna change. This stuff that's going on with the economy and Trump and Elon Musk and the Democrats and Republicans, you can't change that stuff, man. So what you got to do, if you're out here in this business, you have to adjust. You have to adjust yourself. Okay, well, lumber prices go up. I'm charging more for my houses.
Well, my thing is adjustments should be off-grid adjustments.
You said what now?
Adjustments that's going to make the house. It should be off-grid adjustments. It should be adjustments that can make the house more self-sustaining, more self-functioning.
Yeah, that's coming
from the grid. Independent.
That's coming. That's coming.
It's right now. That's what rainwater harvesting and gray water, dropping more wells.
Yeah,
it's here. We need to drop more wells. We need to do more rainwater containment. We need to have more gray water in all of our buildings. It's here right now.
I mean, I think you're right. I think we should be using that, and I think we're way behind. We should have been on top of that stuff a long time ago. But it's coming. I mean, but the people have got to, it's just
the solar panels. That's another renewable energy is here. We need thermal energy. We need solar energy right now.
Yeah,
all
those things just cost so much more. Hey man, what's up? All right, guys, I'm gonna end right here, and I'll see you in a minute, Mr. Banks.
Yeah, you want a cup of coffee?
Huh?
You want a cup of coffee?
Oh no, man! I done ate too much, man. I had some sodas and stuff, man. I'm probably gonna fall asleep in class today. All right, man.
I'll bring the coffee on in.
All right, buddy.
I'll be there. All right, be there. All right. Thank you.
Hold on. How to stop this right here? Oh, I gotta end it. Man.